Recording in progress.
Hey, that was pretty close.
We don't need the computer. We just have Lindsay to tell us that the recording is now in progress. So
Lindsay, you were the one that does the computer voice? That's amazing. How much do they pay you for that?
Me.
We're in the presence of greatness. So
I never knew.
Hi guys. It's been a minute. You guys have seen these other three ladies, but not me recently. So I guess this is kind of my hello. I'm still here. I didn't fall off the face of the planet. Yeah. So hi guys. I'm still here. Although it's a little smoky right now. Thanks, Janet, for sharing.
It's all Canada's fault.
It's all Canada's fault.
You keep that smoke in Canada.
Yeah. And it's not even smoky here. It's all Ontario. So
Yeah.
And here,
it's smoky here in Ohio too. They actually shut down outdoor pools that are public pools because of air quality, and
oh no.
it's a good time.
We don't have smoke right now. We usually do.
Well, the airflow is coming off the Pacific, so it's giving you all like the nice fresh ocean air.
Just come visit here.
that's what it is. Yeah. We'll just come visit. We can go visit Janet, or we can go visit Neely and get out of the smoke.
Yes, I very much so appreciate the Rockies, so I'd rather head west for sure.
There we go. That works. Okay, so how about we just do an update video for everybody? If you want me to start, if you want me to start, I can start, or someone else can start.
No, you should start. Everyone wants to know what's going on with you. They've heard from all of us.
Okay,
literally.
My chickens say hi. So I kind of fell off the face of the planet. Sorry about that. I began to realize that I was making my business and YouTube and everything else forefront in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was realizing that my kids and my family were beginning to take a seat in the back row. Mm-hmm. And I was not okay with that. And my husband and I was really stressed. And then my husband one day, he looks at me and he goes, "You do realize I make enough for you to quit, right?" And it was unprompted. It came out of nowhere. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I think that's exactly what I need to do. Mm-hmm. And so I talked with my kids because Bella was starting to have a lot of issues. Bella was actually starting to have her nightmares again. Waking up in the middle of the night several times, just shaking and upset. And I kept finding pictures all over the house that Bella was drawing, and they were all sad faces of her. Mm-hmm. And so I found it, and with broken hearts, she would draw a heart and then she would draw like the lightning strike through it. And so I said, "Baby, what is this? Why are you sad?" And she said, "Because you're too busy. Because I can't be with you." And I was just like, okay, that's enough. So I sat the kids down and I talked with them and I said, I'm done. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to be a mom again. We're going to start our homeschooling again, the way that we would do it. And the animals and learning about the plants and everything that we've been doing. And all three of them had tears in their eyes. And they were so happy. And they said, "But what about all of your people?" And I said, "They're not as important as you guys are. We have so much to do, and we have a lot going on in our lives right now. And I want you guys to realize that you are what's most important to me. And there's a lot of things that we're beginning to suffer." And it was hard. It was really, really, really hard, because I felt like I was being selfish for walking away from what I had created on YouTube. My Mighty Network is going to be closing at the end of the year. I mean, I'm stepping back from everything. And I started to feel selfish, but then I realized that wasn't the case at all. I was getting my priorities straight for where we are at this point in time in our life. So I'm going to continue. I took a little bit of a sabbatical where I just kind of literally disappeared. And Janet, I know you did this not too long ago, and I was so grateful that you did, because I was able to literally just put everything down and walk away. And I was like, Janet still had her people that loved her. It's gonna be okay. And so I'm now to the point where I'm gonna do a couple of videos a month. It's not gonna be anything like it was before. It's gonna be very unfiltered, uncut. It's gonna be from start to finish. This is what it is. So that I can still connect with my followers, with the people who are hanging out with me that are still willing to come along to see what's going on. But it's going to be a whole lot less now. The Mighty Network, like everything, I've had to really step back and fix my priorities for where our family is right now. So right now I have my microphone and I'm sitting outside and the geese are screaming and the emus are chirping and the chickens are clucking. And so hopefully it's not too loud for anybody else. But yeah, so that's me. That's where I went. So I didn't go anywhere. Fab 4 is going to be one of those videos every single month that I am a part of. And I'm doing really well. My kids are doing really, really good. My marriage, my family, like everything is going really well right now that I have kind of gotten things back in order the way that they should be. So that's my update. So now everybody knows why I disappeared and fell off the face of the planet.
And it wasn't a bad thing. Sometimes people like jump to the worst possible conclusion when people disappear. And I'm just so thankful that it's all good. Like it's positive. Not that it's easy to step back from something you've created, but it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely worth it. Everyone was like, share your story. And I did. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done sharing now. It's time to be done. What were you going to say, Janet?
I commend you for doing that because like you had said, I went through that and it's so hard to make that decision because you worked so hard. Like all 4 of us have worked so hard to create this community and friends. And it's really hard to let that go because you just feel like guilty. You feel guilty for not like putting that video out there and communicating with the friends that you've met online, literally, like even us 4, like if I missed a Fab 4, like when I did, I feel so guilty because then I miss communicating with you guys, right? And it's really hard to make that decision, but like I've said, family is number 1. And when I took that hiatus, that my family needed me at that time. So, and it's a really hard decision because you want to put videos out there, but your heart just isn't in that. Your heart is with your family. And so it's such a tough decision to make. And, you know, there might be a time when you come back and in 6 months, you know, when things have settled a little bit and your kids get older and, you know, life is ups and downs, completely ups and downs. And it's a very hard decision. So I commend you for doing that. And I'm sure everybody still loves you and they'll come back for you. And that's all that matters.
I'm out. You're off the YouTubes. I'm gone.
Honestly, the creator burnout is a really big deal. And YouTube itself has even taken a lot of steps to try to offer, help to creators and just, assuring people that like the algorithm isn't going to completely forget about you if you go away for a week and like encouraging creators to take time off. So it's not just you, it's not just Janet, like it's everybody. And it's such a like hamster wheel that it's never enough. Like it's not like you're writing a book and then the book is released. I'm done. It's like every time you put something out, it's like, oh, what's next? Oh, what's next? Oh, and it comes from the viewers, but then it also comes from yourself too. Cause it's like the views don't just keep coming on the videos. You have to put out new videos. Yeah. And so it's such a, like it messes with your brain. And it's been something that I've really tried to work on handling, but I don't feel like I'm good at it yet. And it's something that I don't know I don't know if there's a good solution to it. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, how long am I going to be able to keep this up? Or what other tools do I need to develop to be able to handle this, the right way? And I was thinking about it recently because I did like the 14-day continuous ketone monitor series. And I was really motivated to like get, as much filming in those 14 days as possible. And so I got into a pattern of filming, at least one video every single day and uploading at least one video every single day. And in a certain way, like it was easier because I was in that rhythm. And then as soon as like I stopped that, I'm like, I don't know what to do, and like it's a mind game, is such a mind game. And I think at some point I'm going to have to, really take a vacation. My husband forced me to take a Saturday off the other week because he's like, this, you just have to take a day off where you don't even think about YouTube. You don't look at comments. You don't do anything. And so that was really good. But yeah, trying to find that balance. I wish I had all the answers. I do not.
Yeah. Lindsay, you got anything?
Well, I think what's difficult is that we all have such diversified interests as far as like, just as an individual human. I am very interested and invested in my family, my husband, my home. I'm also really fascinated and interested in learning how to sail and kiteboarding and the YouTube thing and recipes and creating things and doing like all of these different things. And I'm also invested in my children's activities. We've got horse riding, and one of them wants to go and do more with dance and his piano and all of these things. And it's like, we all have so many things that just light up our brains with like, yes, this is the thing. This is what I enjoy. This is what I want. Not very many people are excellent at deciding what is going on in this season and where should my focus lie. And not very many people are great at saying, well, anything that's not one of those few priorities in this season, I just need to put a pin in it and set it aside. Normally we just get so distracted by those thoughts of like, oh man, I can't wait to go back out and do this thing or be at this place or do this activity or whatever the case may be. We cannot separate our brains out and say, okay, but right now you're focusing on doing this one thing. Like it's almost as if we buy into the false goods of we can find balance. I don't think that's really like reasonable to expect balance even within a week span. I think balance over a lifetime is possible, but I don't know that it's necessarily like possible in the short term, present to future period of time. Like whenever my girls have all of their activities all the time, it's like, okay, that's my priority, is making sure that everybody has what they need, they get where they need to be. When we're schooling, when we're doing family things, we're doing family things. It's so impossible. But I'm also in the back of my mind thinking, ooh, I just had a really great idea for a recipe. Ooh, I really want to do this thing. Oh, I can't wait until we do that thing. It's like you're constantly living for the future when the present is where you really have to be. And I'm garbage at not being distracted. I am absolute garbage at focusing and maintaining a single streamed thought because my brain connects everything all together all the time. And me thinking, oh, well, here we are, we're talking about these things, but also we have horse lessons this afternoon and we have this thing and we have that thing. And oh, don't forget, you got to make that thing. So it's like a constant running, just like narrative in my mind of distractions. And I cannot trust me. This is deep. I can't trust myself to go back and double check the things. If I write down a list of like, okay, this is what's going on in my brain, I need to just write down the list. And then I need to go back and check the list. But I can't trust me to go back to that list and resort through it and say, okay, this and this and this and this needs to be managed. Instead, it's like, because I wrote it down, I no longer have to think about it. Past Lindsay is really awesome at that game. Like, oh, write down all the things. And then future Lindsay is like, oh, well, past Lindsay already managed it by writing it down. So clearly it's totally done. So future Lindsay can just go la-di-da-di-da and get irritated at past Lindsay for the scheduling conflicts, but still somehow manage to do things. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. But the whole concept of focus and being able to discipline ourselves and exercise that muscle of, I cannot balance all of these things in a 24-hour period or a 7-day or a 6-month period. But for right now, I can say that thing still is something I'm interested in, but I can't do it right now. So having that discipline to tell me no, not yet, is one of those things that I personally find to be very challenging. And that's sort of the tangent that my brain took me on when you mentioned the word balance.
You got so deep down in there.
I mean,
yeah, right? You're like, but that's who Lindsay is, though. Yeah, that's one of the things that I realized once I had made the decision to stop. The very next day, I went downstairs and I was like, okay, what am I going to make? Oh, you know what? I haven't made in a really long time. I'm going to make this thing, whatever it was. And I thought, oh, okay, let me figure out which of my doohickeys is going to hold the phone, and the snake is broken. So I have to, I don't have to record it. I don't have to record. I almost cried. So I was like, I don't have to record it. And that's where that was where my whole being was how do I facilitate the angle? How do I do the lighting? Oh, well, we have the curtains closed because it's too hot. So I have to go upstairs, get the light. I have to bring the light downstairs. And I was like, that was literally consuming so much of my day. And then it was, how long is it going to take me to be able to edit this? And do I have to have a voiceover? Do I have to, all of these things? And I was like, it was really consuming way too much of my time. And that's when I was like, okay, I did let myself go too far one way, and now I have to bring it back. And my concern, because I didn't want to be extreme, I was like, but is cutting it all off too extreme, and is it too much? But then the looks on my kids' faces when I said, I'm going to be done for a little while. I'm not sure how long. And then I'm going to put out a few videos a month, all three of them with tears in their eyes. They were like, I missed you. And I can't even begin to tell you how many times these kids have said, I love this. I love that now daily we go out and on the property when we're doing chores, we're looking at all of the plants that are on the property and we're looking them up to see what they can be used for. We're making our own teas and tinctures and infused oils, and the kids are loving every minute of it. And they're like, this is what I love. My husband used to come downstairs when he would wake up because he still works nights. He would come downstairs and the kids would tell him, you have to be quiet. Mom's in a meeting. And I only had a 2-hour window with my husband. He wakes up at 2, he leaves at 4. And that's it. That's all I had. So if I was busy doing something else, I missed out on that time with him. And now I make sure that nothing happens between 2 and 4. That is our window where we get to see dad. Nothing happens then. And it's just been so rewarding. It's been so amazing. And so I'm very curious to see if I do get that drive to go back. Am I gonna want to, in 6 months, pick it back up again and start doing more? Or what's gonna happen? I literally have no idea, because things are changing in the world. They're changing in our families, with our situations. Like, everything is just, it feels so new and so fresh and so uncharted, because there's so many things going on in the world that have never happened before. I mean, the weather alone is so extreme right now that it's like, I don't know what's next. It's kind of like this adventure that we're all on and trying to figure out, like, okay, how do we navigate what's coming next? So are all of you kind of feeling the same way with all of that?
Excuse me. I guess it's my turn.
Right?
I was just going to say that as YouTube creators, I feel like, doing YouTube takes time away from your family. It really does. And I don't think a lot of, viewers realize that, whether you're doing a recipe or even if you're vlogging. Like my channel has transitioned into vlogging, but even still, that takes away from your family, because, I know what I'm doing. I know what Jimmy and I are doing, but at that moment you have to explain to your viewers what you're doing, because they're not they're not here. So you can't just pick up and say, oh, we're here now. Like, you kind of have to vlog the process of getting to Home Depot and explain why you're going to Home Depot and what you're working on. And like Jimmy and I will know that, but you have to explain it to the camera. And it takes time away from like Jimmy and me just going to do it. Or, you know, if you're recording a specific video. And that's what I want viewers to understand, especially with Amy's situation, is it takes up so much time that I don't think viewers can appreciate that. And, you know, well, why are you leaving? It's so easy. YouTube is so easy. You just got to record it. But they don't think about, like you explained, the lighting, the recipe, the close-ups, the angles, the editing, the editing, and all of these things, the uploading, you know, the downloading, then the uploading. It takes so much time for one video. So I just wanted to say that as well. And I think it's good to recognize when you do need to step away and to kind of get that balance. Because like you said, it's just Jimmy and I now, but Zoe was home on the weekend. So, you know, I try to get all of my work done so that I can just concentrate on, you know, when she's home. But you made me realize another point is because with me working in my office, and like my older daughter, Jenna, FaceTimes me almost every day. I'm working when she FaceTimes me for that half hour, because she usually calls me on her break. And it kind of made me think, like, I got to stop for that half an hour that she took out of her time, that she has her break, to FaceTime her mom, you know, at 23 every day. And I just got to put down my work and just focus on her in that conversation. And it's really hard to do. And I think that's one thing that, you know, all of us have to recognize. You know, you could be in the middle of recording and your kids need something. It's like, you know, just, I'll do it when I'm done recording. Well, then by that time your child forgot about it. You forget about it because now you're thinking about editing, when you got to upload it and everything. And just to stop and be in the moment is so important. And to recognize when you get to spend time with your husband, when you get to spend time with your kids. Like, it's so important to think about that. And I swear, if I was single, I would probably work all the time. All four of us probably would, you know, because we have so many thoughts going through our head about, you know, videos and all of these things that we need to do. But we need to also stop and recognize that our family needs us, you know, our husbands need us to spend that quality time with one another. And that's what I was explaining before we started as well. Like, I'm getting really overwhelmed with work. And, you know, in order for me not to feel so overwhelmed, Zoe used to help me, and I'm seriously thinking about hiring somebody to help me in office, because for that exact reason, I don't want to get burnt out. I don't want to be down in my office until 8-9 p.m., you know, again. And you have to consciously think about that. And it's a very hard decision to let that go. But you have to do it for your marriage or your kids, being a parent, you know, for all of those reasons that are so much more, you know, than YouTube and making money in your business, etc. And I think that's just an important quality that we all have to remember, you know, to prevent burnout and to realize what's important to us. Yeah.
I think that when a vlogger or a YouTuber does a good job, like at editing and all of that, it's supposed to look easy. It's supposed to look flawless. It makes me think of ballerinas. Renee is a ballerina, and she just had her recital, and they had the teachers who are professional ballerinas do some stuff. And like, the thing that they do is they make their moves look effortless. Like, they're doing these incredible things, like the guy lifting the girl up and then like setting her down like she's weighs a feather, you know, like a feather. And it's like, they make it look, and so like, the better they are at their job, the more effortless it looks. And I feel like that's the way it is with YouTube, where if we do a good job, we make it look easy. and that's what the viewers see. And so it's easy to like just think, oh, you just had this beautiful day at the beach with your family that you vlogged, and it's like, that just looks so perfect and beautiful and just relaxing and easy. But the amount of work that goes into making that happen, like, to provide that video for the viewers, it takes a lot of effort and time and thought, like mental, like finagling and like all this stuff. And so that's always something that's just really important to have in the back of your mind when you're watching creators. Like, yeah, like when Janet was gone, I got comments from people being like, you know, like, how dare she leave? And I'm just like, what? Like, do you not understand how much work, like that it's almost like they think that some people, definitely not the majority, it's just a very vocal minority, but think that 15 minutes of a YouTube video that someone puts out is their entire life. And so it's like, if you don't put that out, it's like you checked out of life. And you're like, no, that's not how it works. So yeah, that's just something that it's like, it's a difficult thing to manage, because if you really do a good job, you do make it look easy. And so people are just going to get that impression. And so you just kind of have to manage that impression that you're giving off when you get to that point of being able to give that impression. And so, yeah, that's just something that because you don't want to have to say it in every video. Like, we're talking about it now. This is kind of our chat, like our creator chat, where we're going back and forth talking about what it's like. But I don't want to have to say that in every one of my videos. I want to provide something to the viewers that is relaxing and that does look effortless. Not that I'm at the top ballerina level of doing that or anything, but like that's my goal. And so it's just kind of something you have to live with people expecting it to be effortless. And yeah, go ahead.
That's the word right there that has been just like rattling through my brain, is the expectation. And I think it's really difficult that as humans, we all place expectations, whether we place them on ourselves or people that are outside of ourselves. And as the viewer, I know for me, before I started putting videos on the YouTubes, I would be so just like, oh, so-and-so put out a new video, I'm going to go watch that. Man, I want more from them. I want more. And it's a very consumer, selfish, self-centric perspective of, I must have more to get another dopamine hit so that I can enjoy something. And, I think about it, especially whenever you consider the whole, the multifaceted gemstone of YouTube. One facet is just children playing with toys so that other children can observe them playing with toys. And I'm like, why do that when you could just play with the toys you have already? And it's one of those things where, children, obviously they need something to emulate. Like, they play based off real life, but also they're just turning into lumps, just observing other people. So they feel like they're getting that satisfaction of playing without having to lift a finger other than to swipe. Like this muscle gets real strong, real strong. But the rest of them, I'm like, my kids, they don't really watch YouTube ever. So that's not so much a problem. But, I remember whenever all of the play with me or all of the unboxings of the little mystery bags or surprise blind bag thing was like a huge wave across the YouTubes. And I'm thinking, the expectation of those kids is that they're going to receive some sort of value add, some sort of dopamine hit. And then it translates to adults. We want some sort of dopamine hit from observing someone else do the action. It's kind of like how past Lindsay will write the action down, but future Lindsay thinks that it's already happened, so there's no need to revisit it. Even though there's like every reason on the planet, go revisit the task list, please. The bathroom does not clean itself. So it's one of those things where it's like, you want that. And so people get so hooked on it that then they get upset when that level of expectation, that dopamine is not achieved. And so then they lash out. And that was definitely something, the expectation piece is a really tricky one to navigate, because I know I place expectations on everything in my world at all times. Whether or not they're realistic is up for debate. I hope that as I mature, I can continue to be a little bit more mindful and have a much more realistic expectation, but also it's, sometimes completely irrational. The other thing I wanted to say was that I am absolutely flabbergasted and impressed that your 23-year-old wants to FaceTime you every single day. Like, what?
And she's always been that way.
That's amazing. The moment I left mom and dad's house, I was like, bye, I'll call you once a month, maybe if I remember.
That's Zoe. I never hear from Zoe in like probably maybe once a week, she'll send a text.
So often.
Jenna is pretty much every day. And it's always been like that. If I don't hear from Jenna, like in 2 days, like I am driving to Banff to find her and find out what happened.
That's amazing.
I'm just like totally blown away. I don't know that any of my children will be like that because they're all still so very young. Yeah. But also I'm like, do I have the capacity to deal with someone calling me every single day?
It's so crazy. Zoe was reading our messages like when Zoe was still at home, because of course Jenna would text every day as well. And Zoe was like, why is she telling you like this stuff? It's like the mundane stuff of what she did during the day. I'm like, I don't know,
You're
Zoe.
the audience for her vlog, and it just comes through in text.
That's it. I swear, Jeff he's not on Instagram, but he will like send me a picture of his food. He'll send me he does Instagram like personally to me.
I love that.
And then he has specific friends where he will do the same kind of thing. It's so funny.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Oh, that is hilarious. Speaking of Instagram, yeah, I deleted my Instagram. Y'all, I hated Instagram. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't figure it out. And I used to stress so much about it. So as soon as I did this, I was like, I get to delete it. And I did. I deleted the whole thing. It's gone. I want to circle back to one of the things that Lindsay said.
I said a lot of good things.
There was so many good things. Deep here. Talking about that dopamine hit you get from watching other people do something on YouTube specifically. I noticed it not long ago when my stepkids would come back and they would ask if they could watch a guy play a video game. And he's scheduled to do this and he's going to do this thing and I don't want to miss it. And I'm like, okay, so playing video games wasn't enough, that we're just sitting on our butts doing this with our thumbs. That wasn't enough. Now we're going to watch the guy play the video game. So you can get the dopamine hit off of when he achieves a new level or he does something new. And it's hard. It's so hard to watch. And I was like, I hope that I'm not facilitating that and that I don't get sucked into that either, because, now everything that I watch now, everything is either a sermon or it's something about herbs and harvesting. And honestly, that's about it. That's really about it. Or about bettering my marriage. That's all I'm watching. That's all I'm doing. And that I don't really get the dopamine hit off of that, because it's like, okay, I can take this and I can apply it. And then that actually brings the results, but I have to do the work. And so my kids, they're constantly, now not anymore. Usually when they first come back, they're like, oh, but there's this guy and he's going to do this thing and he's going to do this one level. And I'm like, YouTube is forever. So when you get back to your mom's house, then you're going to have to catch up, I guess, because no, I'm sorry. You guys are limited. They're limited to 1 hour on the weekends of electronics, and that's it, because of how much they get otherwise. So they change, and then they're outside constantly, and they're always like, and the 11-year-old comes to me, can we go do chores now? Because she wants to go feed the animals. She wants to go pick mulberries. Our mulberry tree in the emu pen is just exploding with mulberries. So we go out there, and the baby emus and the big emus, they all come over, and we'll pull down the branch, and they'll come over and they'll all start picking it, and we'll shake the branches so they fall on the ground. The babies are running around, all collecting them, and every day they want to go out there and they want to do that. And I'm like, okay, this is worth it, to kind of step back from everything. But it's kind of disconcerting to see we've taken it to the next level of dopamine enrichment on the lazy side. And it's
And I commend all like three of you guys because you're doing a wonderful job with screen time. Like I couldn't imagine how difficult it would be to have young children and to monitor that. And that's exactly it. Like I know friends of mine and they try to limit screen time, but exactly what you said, like they're to this point where they love watching other kids playing with toys, like you said, or else a big thing is a female or male, whatever, reading a book. Like, and then they sit there, the child will sit and watch this person read a book. And it's like, why isn't the parent reading the book? Like, that's what I did with my kids. We would read a book together at nighttime. Like, there was no internet that was as huge as it is now, and it's got to be so tough for parents to monitor that and to replace that when they've been subjected to it. Like it's different if you've always been like that from when they were born and you physically play games with them, or you play grocery, like they play office, like that's what my girls used to play all the time.
That's
And
what we used to play.
yeah, if you never did that, and then all of a sudden at like age 7 or 8, you're like, wow, my kid like watches a lot of YouTube or whatever kids watch, screen time, and now I need to take that over. But kids they want to watch it on TV. They don't want to play with you. They want to watch other kids playing it. Like it boggles my mind because it's just obviously I grew up in a different generation and my girls grew up in a different generation. So it's got to be really, really tough because kids at a young age get that dopamine fix, and age 2, 3, people, they know how to use an iPad. Like they need to be my IT department as a 4-year-old.
I do want to say that the concept of screen time is one that is a very delicate discussion because my kids, they do have electronics, but not very often. And we kind of ebb and flow where there are seasons where we use them more, seasons where we eliminate them, seasons where we just constantly like fluctuating, kind of like the tide. And it's really difficult because I don't necessarily want them to have the screens. Like it would be so easy to just say, okay, we're going to live in a bubble of no electronic devices, full stop. But I don't want them to ever become like so just like enamored with, ooh, this is a forbidden thing that we can't have anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and as soon as I have the chance, I'm going to just binge on whatever I need from this thing because it's been kept so idolized almost. Or it's one of those things where it's like eventually they're going to be out of my house and they're going to have to use electronics to some degree in order to function in society. And so trying to find where is that balance. And I think that Amy, with you saying that at the kids' mom's house, they get more than their fill. And then when they come back, they can kind of do a little bit of a reset. And so like the kids, they have to understand how to function with technology. I mean, that's every generation's, like plight in life. And so eliminating it entirely is just not the option. But being able to navigate that and ebb and flow with the seasons, I think that's kind of what me and my husband have settled on is like right now the girls are not using tablets at all. We noticed a lot of, attitude devolvement, if you will. And so it was like, you know what? Let's just take a little break. There's sunshine outside. There are all these things, and we've acquired many more crafting activities for them to do with their own hands. And it's like, okay, during the quiet time, you're going to do this thing. And then here you go. You have your whole pick of all of these things that you can do, and they're all self-sustainable. So I don't have to engage because I do need a little bit of a mental break every now and then. So, like here's your 1 hour of you going and doing and creating and being. And then at other times it's like, yeah, as a family, we can all sit down and watch Dr. Pimple Popper and our lives are blessed.
Just threw up a little bit in the back of my throat there. That was fantastic.
That's the reaction I was hoping for.
I was thinking about, so it's really easy to look at technology and social media and like there's so many people talking about the dangers and all the bad and how this generation is devolving and like all this stuff because of all of these things. But I also like don't want to lose the incredible value that all of these things have brought to our lives as well. And so for my kids, it's like, you can go on the internet and you can learn anything. Like you can like Amy, you were talking
so
about
cool.
harvesting, and like the fact that that information is all at our fingertips is incredible, and it's a huge value. And so I like Lindsay, I don't want to just say because of the bad things that screens can do, none, we're gonna stay in our little bubble and just keep it completely out. Like, same as what we've been talking about with YouTube, it's like you got to find a balance, and you got to recognize the dangers and recognize the benefits and figure out like how to make it work in your life. And I think about YouTube and social media, and I'm like, we would not be here together. Like, I would not have these friends that I talk to nearly every day without this platform. And so like, I'm super grateful for YouTube, and like I'm able to be a stay-at-home mom with my kids and make money and like share my life and like offer inspiration to other people that maybe are just starting out in their motherhood, or homesteading, or a keto lifestyle. Like, I'm able to offer that inspiration from the comfort of my own home. Like, there are so many benefits to this whole electronics social media world. And again, it's just trying to find that balance of not letting a good thing turn into a bad thing, because it's like it can happen super fast, super easily.
Use it, like you say, use it as a tool, right? And to keep it in your back pocket for information, like back in my day when I had to do an essay, like I had to go to the library for hours, and I had to research and research.
Microfilm.
Dewey Decimal System, you guys.
Oh yeah.
And like that, I often think of libraries. Like, we don't want libraries to become extinct. We want to still utilize libraries, and as well utilize technology. When we're sitting at home helping our kids with homework at 9 o'clock at night when we can't go to the library, then we can use the internet or whatever the situation is. Like, my kids in high school, it was all on the internet as far as essays and stuff. I asked Zoe a few months ago if she ever utilized her high school library, and she said no. And I was like, wow, like she gets all the textbooks come from the library, but more or less she gathered information from the internet for her essays. And it's just so crazy.
Wandering through the stacks.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, this looks interesting. What is this doing?
Yeah, or cookbooks. I always like looking at the cookbooks at the library too. So, but exactly, it's a balance about technology. And the sad, like, I feel like it's sad, but like directions, like they use what is it on your phone? The
Google Maps. That's what we use.
Google Maps to try to get somewhere. And I'm like, we used to have a map. Like, when we went to a city we've never been before, we bought a map.
And a highlighter, and here's your circle, and drive this way, circle, and don't forget to count the exits.
And if you take one wrong turn, it's all over.
Yeah.
Then you're stopping at a gas station. I'm trying to get to this place.
Yeah. Phone books, yellow pages, all of that sort of stuff, right?
All the good stuff.
Exactly. So to wrap up, no, this is not goodbye for any of us. But for me, it's I'll see you sporadically. I'll see you a little bit later.
I'll see you when I see you.
Exactly. And finding that balance for everybody. I mean, that's what life is about, is balance instead of extremes. We tend to really, Lindsay, I love you. We tend to head to the extremes a little bit. So
it's so fun whenever it goes, woo!
It really is. Like, I'm digging it. I'm just saying. But anyways, so we're gonna let you guys go. These ladies actually have other things to do. I have chores to go and do. So with my kids, and pick mulberries with the emus. But anyways.
I can't get over the idea of baby emus eating mulberries.
Yeah, I think we need a video of that. You could just do, like, set up the camera You don't have to do anything. Just set up the camera, hit record,
Trail
and
cam
do the
on
whole
the
baby
emu.
emu
Yes.
whole thing, and we would watch it.
Exactly what needs to happen. That may be where my channel goes. It's just going to be like, look at the animals did something fun.
Yeah,
cam.
like relaxing farm videos.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
thanks guys for joining us today, and we'll keep you up to date. And I'm sure we'll see you and baby emus not too long from now. So thanks, ladies. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.